Just bought a country house. My daughter's call revealed a heartwarming surprise with 20 guests. John had never felt so alive when he signed those papers. A small, weathered house in the heart of the Midwest now belonged to him, and he envisioned a new life there with Lily. As a mechanic, he had worked long, grueling hours to scrape together the savings for this fresh start. But as he stood against the weathered walls adorned with flaking paint, a twinge of doubt clawed at him. Would he ever be enough? With Lily away at college, there were moments he felt the weight of solitude, the echo of her laughter haunting the empty halls. So when the phone rang one sun-drenched evening, his heart leaped at the sight of her name on the screen. "Dad. You won't believe it. I'm throwing a surprise party for you." Her excitement was palpable, yet as the words sunk in, dread crept in like shadows stealing light. 20 guests. How was he supposed to pull that off? The kitchen felt foreign, and his wallet tightened with each passing day, bills piling up like the unpainted walls. As days rushed by, his mind became a theater of chaos. A barbecue mishap where burgers turned to charcoal. Clouds darkened the sky, rumbling menacingly as if mocking his attempts to celebrate. He stood in the kitchen, frustrated, feeling utterly defeated, ready to call everything off. But then there came a gentle knock, and another, and another. Old neighbors, distant friends, veterans from the American Legion, all offering support and advice, showing up with homemade dishes and decorations. It was a moment that left him speechless, and in his heart, he felt a warmth he thought long forgotten. Perhaps it didn't just take a man to lift a family, sometimes it took a village. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Finally, the night of the party arrived. Bright lights twinkled like stars against the indigo sky. The aroma of grilled burgers wafted through the swaying blades of grass. Laughter erupted like fireworks, brightening the air around him. Just as John took a deep breath, preparing to welcome guests, the door swung open. There stood Lily, radiant, her smile sparkling like the dusk around them. Friends from their past, people he thought had drifted away, emerged behind her, reconnecting in a joyous cacophony. For a brief moment, John felt like everything was right in the world, nostalgia dancing in his heart. But with the joy came the specter of history, the warmth of connection overshadowed by strains they had buried deep. Could they face the hidden fears and misunderstandings that had loomed between them? As laughter echoed through his home, John's mind raced, weighing the happiness of that moment against the simmering tension lingering just beneath the surface. Would this evening symbolize the beginning of healing or the unveiling of cracks long ignored? As darkness deepened, the question loomed, would the joy of celebration pave the way for future bonds, or expose the fragile cracks they both feared? John stood at the center of the gathering, heart thrumming in his chest. The laughter rang out, a melody of familiarity and warmth that he thought he'd missed forever. As the sun sank lower, casting a golden glow over the backyard, he took a moment to breathe it all in. Each face, each smile was a stitch in the fabric of the life he had almost forgotten. Despite the tension coiling in his gut, he felt a flicker of hope. Lily mingled with the crowd, her laughter like music, soothing the worries that clouded John's mind. He should have been consumed by joy, yet a spark of anxiety gnawed at him. He spotted her talking animatedly with Mrs. Thompson, their former neighbor who always seemed to know the latest gossip. John remembered their late-night talks across picket fences, and now after all these years here they were, sharing stories again. As the sun began its descent, John shifted into action, pulling himself out of his reverie. He made his way to the grill, half distracted by the voices buzzing around him. He was determined to flip the burgers with confidence, but that resolve faded as the heat from the grill mingled with the warmth of camaraderie. With each sizzle, he caught snippets of conversations that made up the tapestry of their community, jokes about their high school days, playful jabs at one another's cooking skills, and heartfelt cheers when the food was ready. Yet, somewhere beneath the surface, he felt the weight of unspoken words pushing down. "Dad. Lily's voice rang out, slicing through the noise. Her grin was infectious, the kind that lit up the dimmest corners of any day. "You're the star of the show. Come on." She grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the center. As they stood in the circular gathering of their friends and family, John felt his heart race. "All right, everyone, if I could have your attention," Lily called out, her voice steady despite the flutter in her father's chest. When she turned to him, her eyes sparkled with a vulnerability that tugged at him. "This is my dad, and you all know how hard he's worked to get this place ready. Let us give him the biggest cheer." The energy shifted, voices rose like a chorus, summoning applause that washed over him like a warm wave. Tears pricked the corners of his eyes, and he felt the love in the room palpable and real. But as the cheers died down, he caught sight of a couple standing off to the side. Their faces mirrored memories he wished would remain untapped. Old friends who knew more about his past than he was comfortable with. Did they feel the same weight of their shared history? Moments later, as small groups formed within the larger gathering, John found himself weaving through the crowd, drawn like magnet to the heart of those lingering questions. He leaned against the porch railing, hands trembling slightly. He was unsure if he should confront the past that had shadowed him for so long or bask in the friendly faces celebrating this moment. "Dad." Lily's voice once more grounded him. She stood beside him, eyes gentle and profound. "Are you okay?" John swallowed hard, searching for the right words. There was so much he wanted to say, so much he needed to address. But the party was alive with energy, joy bursting in every corner. Should he dampen that spirit with his burden? "Yeah, sweetheart, I'm okay," he replied, though the words tasted hollow. But the unsteadiness in his voice didn't go unnoticed by his daughter, yet he couldn't hide behind a smile any longer. The truth loomed larger than ever. Would this gathering redefine their relationship or leave deeper cracks between them? With a resolve perhaps stronger than the fear, John knew a conversation was coming. And he felt a stirring in his heart. One way or another, he had to face it. What would be revealed when the night finally said its goodbyes? Would he find the strength to unravel those lingering threads of fear and doubt? Or would the moment slip away, buried under layers of nostalgia? He inhaled deeply, turning to Lily, a spark of determination igniting within him as he asked, "Can we talk?" An overwhelming stillness settled over them both, reframing everything. Would this be the moment they began to unearth not just the celebration, but the truths that lay beneath? The air felt heavy between them, electric with unspoken words. John looked deep into Lily's eyes, searching for reassurance. She smiled softly, urging him silently to continue. Let us step away from the crowd," he suggested, gesturing toward the edge of the yard where the trees cast longer shadows. The warmth of familial laughter faded into the background as they walked together, the sound of the party receding like the tide. Finding a secluded corner near the old oak tree, John leaned back against the rough bark, feeling its strength, hoping it would lend him a bit of resolve. "I've missed this," he murmured, looking at Lily. "I've missed being here with you all." The weight of his confession hung between them, heavy with meaning. Lily's expression changed, her joy mingling with concern. "I missed you too, Dad. It's nice to have everyone together again." His heart swelled at her words, but the enormity of his past loomed like a storm cloud. "It's just I haven't always been the dad you needed, have I?" Each word felt like he was carving into stone, both painful and necessary. "Dad, we've all had our struggles." "You don't have to be perfect," she replied, crossing her arms, her voice firm but gentle. An ache settled in John's chest. "But I want to be better. I know there are fragments of our past I want to figure things out with you. I don't want to ruin tonight." His throat tightened, emotions stirring like an unsettled ocean. Lily's expression softened further, her eyes shimmering with understanding. "You're not ruining anything. Talking about it is the first step, right?" As she spoke, he could see their history intertwined in her glance. The late nights when he had been absent, the hurt that had settled in like a persistent chill. It was there, lurking beneath the surface. "I just don't know where to start," he admitted. "Start with the truth," she said, stepping closer, her warmth reaching out to him in the dim light. "What do you want to say?" "I'm ready to listen." That simple invitation offered him a lifeline. Memories rushed back at him, the hurtful silence during family dinners, the moments he had turned away instead of facing the truth. The very truth that was standing in front of him now, brimming with life. "I want to tell you about the choices I made, and how they affected you. There's so much I regret. But I also want you to know how much I love you," he finally managed, the honesty spilling out like water from a cracked dam. Lily watched him intently, her expression shifted from concern to something deeper. "Dad, I know you love me. It's okay if things got messy. We can fix it together." The reminder that they could work through this as a team breathed new life into the conversation. He felt lighter, almost buoyant with hope. But just as clarity began to settle, he saw the familiar couple approaching from the gathering, their faces stamped with an uncertainty that mirrored his own. "What do you think they want?" he asked, a fresh anxiety spiraling in his stomach. "Maybe they want to talk too," Lily suggested, glancing back toward them. "Or maybe they've known something that could help." John took a deep breath. Something shifted inside him, a blend of anticipation and fear. Would they help bridge the past? Would it be another chapter of confrontation or a chance for healing? As the couple drew nearer, he felt the stakes rise. Would this gathering pull them all together or unravel the very threads they were trying to weave? "Dad, whatever it is, we can face it," Lily whispered, squeezing his hand before releasing it. With that, the air thickened once more, heavy with possibility. What truths awaited in the shadows? Would their shared histories open the floodgates of understanding or drown them in old sorrows? The stars began to twinkle overhead, bright but distant, much like the hope that sparked within John's heart. As he drew up the courage to meet the couple, he realized this was only the beginning. How would the night unfold, and would the truths they revealed lead to liberation or further entanglement? As John squared his shoulders, two figures shuffled forward from the gathering, the flickering lights casting a gentle glow on their features. It was Sarah and Michael, friends from their old neighborhood, their presence unexpected yet familiar. He felt his heart rate spike, a mix of elation and dread swirling within him. "Hey, John." "Lily." Sarah called out cheerfully, but her smile wavered as she noticed the tension etched on John's face. "We were hoping to catch you. Mind if we join?" Sure," John replied, his voice barely above a whisper. Lily stepped back, her presence now a comforting anchor as John feigned calmness. "Everything okay?" Michael asked, his brow furrowing as he glanced between them. "Yeah, just talking," John said, his mind racing. Was it too late to turn this back? Did they really want to be pulled into this whirlwind of emotion? "Great to hear. We've missed you both," Sarah said, shifting uncomfortably. She pointed to the party through the trees. "Everyone wants to catch up, but we wanted to talk to you first. We know some things you might not." John's stomach dropped. A shard of fear pierced through him. "What do you mean?" Sarah exchanged a quick look with Michael, one that spoke volumes of unshared history. "Remember when you left? We were right there, living it too, seeing how it affected everyone. We've been waiting to chat with you about it." Lily's eyes widened, a flicker of apprehension crossing her face. "What things?" Reducing the distance, Sarah leaned in a bit, her voice dropping to a hush as if they were huddling against the whispers of the night. "We saw how hard it was on you. And how your absence affected us all. But we've also seen how much you've changed, and how much you want to be there for Lily now." Tension constricted around John, nearly suffocating him. "You really think I've changed?" His tone was desperate, grasping for validation. Michael nodded. "Absolutely. But there's more beneath the surface. We can all heal, but it starts with understanding why things happened the way they did. You need to share the truth." "I want to. I really do," John admitted, casting a glance at Lily, whose eyes shimmered with a mix of hope and uncertainty. Lily stepped forward, her voice steady. "I'm ready to hear. We can't fix anything without knowing." Sarah exchanged another knowing look with Michael, a silent agreement passing between them. Then let us gather everyone. We can have this talk as a family. There's no reason to go it alone. As John ran a hand through his hair, a sense of foreboding pressed on him. What if sharing the truth led to more hurt than healing? Yet the thought of facing this together with Lily made his fear bearable, even releasing tiny threads of hope. Okay, he said, swallowing hard. Let us do it. They turned back toward the party, the glow of laughter and music flooding over them again. The festivities looked so carefree, both welcoming and daunting. Would they be able to navigate the storm brewing inside, or would the past overtake them once more? Dad, we'll get through this, Lily murmured, squeezing his arm gently. As they approached the gathering, emotions swirled around John, anticipation mingled with dread. Each step pulled him closer to the precipice of truth, a chance to finally lay bare the past. What would happen when the words flowed? Consequences be damned. Would they find solace in the honest dialogue, or would the flood of memories sweep them away into darkness? The evening's play wasn't finished yet, and John braced himself for whatever came next, heart pounding in his chest. What unexpected truths would surface when everyone's eyes turned toward him, seeking clarity and courage? Would it be a night of healing or heartbreak? As they stepped into the light, John felt the weight of multiple gazes landing on him. Friends, neighbors, and a few faces from the past lingered in small clusters, laughing and sharing stories that once belonged to a different time. Yet now, it all felt utterly foreign. The noise of reunion played lightly around him, but the air between him and Lily seemed thick, charged. Everyone. Michael's voice cut through the chatter, drawing attention. Can we have your attention for a moment? A quiet fell over the crowd as heads turned, curiosity mingling with joy. John could feel the heat creeping up his neck, a mix of embarrassment and anxiety. He wasn't ready for this, but then again, would one ever feel truly prepared to lay their soul bare? I know we're all eager to celebrate and reconnect, Sarah continued, her tone urging yet warm. But there's something important we need to dive into first. Something that's been eating at John for a while. Lily squeezed John's hand, her grip tight and steady. He could feel her strength giving him the courage to move forward. Just breathe, she whispered, her voice so soft yet so impactful. After a moment's silence that felt like an eternity, John stepped forward, the eyes of friends and acquaintances now fixed on him. So he started, finding his voice as he looked at his daughter. There's something I've never really shared. He glanced at the group, assessing the faces of people who knew him before his life took a turn. Mentions of past betrayals, regrets, and heartaches flickered behind them like shadows. I left because I thought leaving would be easier for everyone. The words came out more of a confession than a statement, raw and unvarnished. Michael nodded, offering a supportive smile. From the corner of his eye, John saw Sarah's expression shift to one of understanding. It was reassuring. When I walked away, John continued, I thought it would shield you from my struggles. I thought I was protecting Lily from the chaos I was causing in my own life. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight lifting slightly off his chest. But I didn't realize I only isolated myself and hurt everyone I loved in the process. A murmur ran through the crowd. Some heads nodded, visible signs of recognition. Lily stepped forward, her gaze locking onto his. Dad, I wouldn't be where I am today without you. I just want you to know it's okay to be human. We all make mistakes. John's heart ached at her words. He had been so lost in his guilt that he hadn't stopped to appreciate the strength she had grown over the years. She truly was a light in what felt like his dark past. As connections deepened, he felt the warmth of shared understanding wrap around him like a blanket. I want to be present now, for you and everyone else. I'm ready to repair what I broke, he admitted. A hush enveloped the group, the air thick with emotion. An older friend, Ralph, finally spoke up, breaking the stillness. John, none of us are perfect, not you, not any of us. We understand more than you know. But we're all here now, ready to be a family again. His voice struck a chord, and a wave of relief surged through John. Perhaps it wasn't just about mending his mistakes. It was also about moving forward as a community, full of love and unspoken bonds, ready to embrace each other again. Just then, a flicker of movement caught his eye. A young boy, barely 8, darted through the crowd, holding something small and glittering in his palm. "Look, everyone!" he yelled with pure delight, drawing attention back. John's heart shifted as he watched. Could joy and innocence be the bridge to healing? As laughter erupted around them, John felt the knot in his chest loosen a little more. He was overwhelmed with emotion at how quickly they could find joy again, even amid struggle. Yet, a small voice inside nagged at him. What if the challenges ahead were tougher than he anticipated? Let us hope this isn't just momentary, he thought, locking eyes with Lily, who appeared ready to face the world beside him. Will their freshly patched connections hold amid life's trials, or would they falter under the weight of old wounds? A sense of uncertainty formed as the night pressed on, the echoes of past deeds looming ever closer. Would true healing emerge from this newfound honesty, or would shadows of the past rise again? The laughter around John felt like music, a soft symphony of hopeful notes that tugged at his heart. He smiled nervously, unsure if he was ready to step into this new chapter of his life. What had started as a daunting return home was turning into something beautiful, something he had been craving for so long. Lily's hand remained in his, a lifeline in a sea of unfamiliar faces. As the boy continued to parade whatever treasure he had found, John noticed how easily the joy spread like ripples across the crowd. Something about it reminded him of simpler times. Back when life was filled with light-hearted moments and didn't seem so complicated. But just as quickly as joy filled him, a sense of fear crept back in. What if he couldn't sustain this? What if the shadows he thought had been cast aside came back to haunt them? The weight of what could come next hung heavy in the air, like the calm before a storm. A neighbor approached him, beaming with that same warmth he had seen in the faces earlier. "You've got a lot of people who care about you, John. It's great to have you back." Her words wrapped around him like a warm hug, reassuring and genuine. "Thanks, it means a lot," he managed, but as he spoke, he looked to Lily. She seemed to be absorbing the atmosphere, her eyes dancing with a mixture of pride and apprehension. "I think I want to show everyone something," Lily said suddenly, breaking into his thoughts. She pulled him gently toward the picnic table set nearby. "Come on." Without hesitation, she led him to a small, intricately designed photo book lying on the table. He saw familiar faces looking out at him from the pages between vibrant snapshots of laughter and love. A picture of his family, his old friends, and even a snapshot of his recent moments with Lily. Each page turned made him smile wider. "Dad, look," she beamed, turning to a page with a photo of her standing proudly next to her high school graduation cap. "You may have missed some of these, but I kept them for you. I wanted you to know I carried you with me wherever I went. You were always here, even when you weren't physically present." John felt the sting of tears at the corners of his eyes. The weight of her words hit him with a force he hadn't prepared for. I didn't know," he replied, choking back his emotions. The boy who had stolen the spotlight oh so briefly returned, tugging on John's pants leg. "Mr. John!" he exclaimed, waving his little hand excitedly. "You have to look at what I found." Curiosity piqued, John knelt down to meet the boy's wide, sparkling eyes, and for a moment, everything else melted away. The boy held out his hand, revealing a shiny, old-fashioned key. "I found it in the garden. Do you think it opens a treasure chest?" A wave of laughter rolled through the crowd once more, and everyone gathered closer, intrigued. John chuckled softly, feeling the tension ease just a bit more as he glanced at Lily. "Maybe it opens a treasure of memories," he suggested, and the boy's face lit up with possibilities. Lily smiled at him, her spirit brightened by the exchange. She looked from the boy to her father, as if letting him know, this was just the beginning. But as laughter thickened in the air, John's heart still nagged at him. What history loomed with just a key in hand? Was it truly a treasure they sought, or something darker still buried beneath their feet? His thoughts spun as the evening progressed. As conversations bubbling over with nostalgia filled the air, John felt mixed emotions rumbling within him. Could the joy of the moment protect them from looming uncertainties? As the sun dipped lower, casting a warm golden glow over everyone, he realized one thing: while they had come together, the road ahead felt daunting. A path strewn with remnants of the past and hopeful dreams of the future. With a deep breath, John looked directly into Lily's eyes, the questions unasked hanging heavily between them. Would they uncover the keys to healing, or would the night unravel with old sorrows escaping their discovered treasure? The evening wore on, and the laughter became a comforting backdrop to John's swirling thoughts. He stood at the edge of the gathering, welcoming the warm, golden rays of the sun that painted everything in a soft glow. Lily was engaged in a game with the boy and a group of her friends, their laughter intertwining, creating a melody that both soothed his heart and slightly pained it. That he felt himself drawn to the flickering light strung between the trees, illuminating smiling faces as they shared stories and memories. A sense of connection thrummed in the air, vibrant yet fragile. He wanted to join, to embrace the joy, but something held him back. The key rested heavy in his pocket, the tangible reminder of that which they might still unearth. "Isn't it beautiful?" a soft voice said next to him. It was Marie, one of the neighbors who had welcomed him with open arms. "This place, it's so full of life now." John nodded, unable to find his voice. He felt overwhelmed with gratitude for her kindness but was still wrestling with the weight of his absence. His mind drifted to the past, spiraling back to the moments that led him away. "Did you know?" he finally asked. "That I was so scared to come back?" Marie studied him, her eyes sparkling in the twilight. "Fear is normal, but you're stronger than you think. Just look at Lily. She's thriving. You both needed this reconnection." The tenderness of her statement wrapped around his heart, urging him to embrace his present rather than dwell on the uncertain future. Maybe this was their chance to find not just treasure, but resilience. As John turned his gaze back to Lily, he noticed how she lifted the boy onto her shoulders, their joy echoing off the trees. Watching them, he felt a flicker of something, a hope that pushed back against his fears, igniting a spark in his chest. But that feeling was quickly eclipsed as the laughter around him faded into distant echoes, replaced by the fluttering anxieties of what lay beneath the surface. "Would you like to join us for a game?" Marie asked, breaking through his thoughts again. "We need an extra hand to keep the little ones in check." He hesitated, his heart pounding at the idea of stepping into the circle, of being part of the laughter instead of a mere observer. "I don't know," he started. "Just be present, John. That's all that matters," she encouraged, her smile infectious. Taking a deep breath, he nodded, pushing through the cocoon of his uncertainty. He walked over, joining the group that had so eagerly welcomed him. As the game began, his laughter bubbled up, blending with the others in a joyful chaos. Suddenly, the boy piped up, "Mr. John. You have to be the captain." John felt a jolt of surprise. "Me? A captain?" he asked, a fragile laugh escaping his lips. "Yes. The key can be our treasure map," the boy exclaimed, eyes sparkling with excitement. Every face turned to him, hope and warmth radiating in the collective gaze. It was then John realized the power of being part of something larger than himself, an experience in which the past, present, and future could meld into one vivid moment. As they began to play, John could no longer ignore the fading sunset. The sun sank lower, shadows lengthening, stirring memories of things better left unsaid. Every time he tossed the ball back towards Lily, a question lingered: would he let go of the past, or would the key unlock a Pandora's box buried deep within? The laughter continued around him, and yet within those moments, John feared that underlying truths might emerge after all. Would he have the strength to confront them? Amid the light and play, he noticed a figure on the periphery, familiar yet distant. Someone he hadn't expected to see. The calm before the storm shifted, and he knew the next chapter was shaping up to be more than just about laughter. It could lead to the untold stories waiting to be uncovered. John's heart raced as he caught sight of the figure lingering at the edge of the gathering. The familiar silhouette sent a chill down his spine, and for a moment, laughter faded into the background. It was Clara, his estranged sister. He hadn't seen her in years. Her hesitant smile held a world of memories, each one piercing through him like a shard of glass. They once had a bond that felt unbreakable, but life had unfurled in ways that left them both scarred and distant. He could hardly recall the last time they had spoken. Over a year? Maybe more. Clara, he whispered, as if saying her name would shatter the fragile reality surrounding them. She walked toward him, each step a heavy combination of hope and fear. The smiles on the children's faces faded as they sensed the tension, but John's heart pounded with an unexpected rush of desire and anguish. Would this be another chance to mend what had shattered? Hey, John, her voice was soft, almost tentative. I wasn't sure if I'd see you. I thought maybe I'd wait a little longer. Why now? The question slipped out before he could temper it with kindness. I wanted to see you. I wanted to meet Lily, she said, glancing toward the group where Lily was chasing after a butterfly, laughter echoing in the twilight air. John's mind raced. His little girl was a beacon of light, but he wasn't sure what her presence would bring to his raw and complicated feelings. Clara had always held the power to stir memories he wasn't ready to face, feelings buried deep. Can we talk? Clara asked, her brown eyes pleading. He hesitated, the weight of the key in his pocket suddenly feeling suffocating. The laughter, the joy, all felt so fragile now. With the sun's fiery descent, shadows grew, wrapping around him like an embrace from the past. He finally nodded, glancing back at Lily, her small figure dancing with mischief. Just for a second. I don't want to disrupt, of course, Clara reassured him, her own face shadowing with concern. As they stepped away from the revelry, the world around them dulled to a whisper. John felt an overwhelming mix of anger, hurt, and longing. He had learned to survive without Clara, crafted a new world far away from their chaotic history. But now, all of those feelings burbled to the surface. I regret how we left things. I never meant to hurt you, Clara began, her voice steadying. Regret doesn't change the past, he replied sharply. You vanished without a word, Clara. I know. I was afraid. I didn't know how to be there for you. How to be in your life again. He turned away, feeling the familiar sting of betrayal. It felt so wrong to be having this conversation now, as the sun faded and the laughter grew dimmer, yet something deep within was shifting. Was it anger or hope? Do you even understand what that did to me? He asked, his heart racing. I do now. I've changed, John. We both need a chance to heal, she said softly. I'm not sure that's possible, he replied, his voice barely a whisper, but as Clara's gaze held steady, he felt an unexpected flicker of something, maybe understanding, maybe forgiveness. Lily called out for him, her tiny voice cutting through the air, and John felt pulled back to the light. He turned to look at her, the laughter resonating, bringing him back into the moment, yet something unresolved flickered between him and Clara. Could this be the moment that opened the door to healing, or would it lead to another heartache? John took a deep breath, staring at Clara. He had a choice before him. A choice that could reshape everything or break it all apart. What would he ultimately decide? The tension hung between them like an unspoken vow, fragile yet electrifying. John glanced back at Lily, who had become a miniature whirlwind of energy, leaping and spinning in the fading light. Her innocence was a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing between him and Clara. Maybe we should sit somewhere quieter, Clara suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. John nodded, leading them to a nearby bench, away from the ebbing laughter of the gathering. He didn't want Lily to feel the weight of this conversation. It wasn't hers to carry. As they settled, John couldn't shake the feeling that he was being pulled into a tide he couldn't control. His heart was a churning sea. Clara's presence dredged up emotions he had fought to bury. Anger, yes, but mostly an aching sense of loss. You know how much I needed you, how lonely it was, he said, his voice catching in his throat. Clara's expression changed. I wish I could take all of that back. I never wanted you to feel alone. I was drowning in my own fears. I thought you'd be better off without me. Better off? The words slipped through his teeth like ice. You left me to fend for myself. Do you know how that feels? She flinched and dropped her gaze. I do. I understand it now. I've seen what happens when you cut ties from family. It's a pain that lingers. For a moment, silence wrapped around them, thick with unshared memories. John could see the torn edges of Clara's own scars, rough yet softening in the dusk. He wasn't alone in this battle, was he? Lily doesn't deserve to see us like this, he finally said. She's so pure, just discovering the world. I don't want her to. I don't want her to feel the strain between us. Clara's brow furrowed. You're right. She deserves better than this. But her voice steadied, gathering strength. What if I told you I want to be part of her life? To finally show up where I had once disappeared? His heart thumped loudly in his ears. You think that can be simple? That you can just swoop in and I don't expect it to be simple, she interrupted, her voice firm. But I want to try. I want to make things right. I don't want to miss out on who you both are anymore. He looked into her eyes and saw something fierce, a determination to change the narrative. How do I trust you again, Clara? How do I know you won't just disappear? Give me a chance, Clara suggested softly, her hands clasped in her lap, as if holding on to the hope that hung between them. This time, I want to earn it. Lots of families make mistakes and find their way back. We shouldn't give up because of the past. As his gaze drifted back to Lily, chasing down fireflies now, a flicker of something warm ignited in his chest. Could a part of him be ready to forgive? Could he allow Clara the space to unravel together as a family, again? Okay, he breathed, unsure yet hopeful. We can take small steps. For Lily's sake. A shimmering smile broke across Clara's face, illuminating the surrounding dusk. Thank you, she whispered, sincerity carving her features. I won't take this for granted. But before they could delve deeper, a loud laugh echoed from the gathering, and Lily dashed toward them, her hands clasped around a handful of blinking lights. Look, Daddy. Fireflies. The moment burst with life, laughter spilling out, weaving through their tenacious bond, and John found himself smiling, albeit cautiously. Clara watched him, her own joy latent but undeniable. Yet among the flickering lights, a question brewed within. What would it truly take to mend their hearts, and more importantly, could they face the scars that still lingered unhealed? John couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. As they laughed with Lily, he couldn't help but wonder what other surprises awaited them on this journey of forgiveness. The night breathed with laughter, the fireflies twinkling like stars among the 1,000 flickering lights strung in the trees. John felt lighter, as if the weight of his past had started to lift, piece by piece. Clara's hesitant smile offered warmth that seeped into the cracks of his heart, slowly mending what had felt irreparable. Daddy. Lily squealed with delight, her infectious energy bouncing around them. She looped her arms around both parents, a bridge over a canyon they had unknowingly created. In that moment, the tension began to dissolve, laughter becoming the common language they all spoke. Look at all the fireflies. Lily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling brighter than the stars. They're like little treasures. John and Clara exchanged a knowing glance, the word treasure opening up a flutter of hope within them. Yes, they really are, Clara said softly, kneeling beside Lily. Just like the memories we're making tonight. Let us catch one. Lily suggested, her spirit undampened by the earlier conversations, and she darted off, arms stretched wide as she twirled in pursuit of her glowing quarry. As they watched her dance between the shadows, John turned to Clara. You know, I really appreciate you wanting to be part of Lily's life, he said, his voice steady. But it's not enough just to show up. I need to see actions that back it up. We're all walking on thin ice here. I understand, Clara replied, sincerity etched in her features. I'm here for the long haul. I want to prove to you that I'm committed to rebuilding this family, brick by brick. Lily dashed back, excitement bubbling over. Did you see? I almost caught one. She exclaimed, her cheeks flushed with exhilaration. John knelt down, looking her right in the eye. How about we create our own treasure box tonight? We can write down our hopes and dreams and fill it with memories like fireflies we catch in our hearts. Lily's eyes widened, her imagination sparking. Yes. Let us do it. John stood up, motioning Clara to join him. They all moved toward the picnic table where remnants of cake and snacks remained scattered. He grabbed a handful of colorful sticky notes and a pen. Okay, let us think of what we want to remember, he encouraged, smiling warmly at both women in his life. Something that makes us happy or something we want to accomplish. Lily scribbled fervently, her laughter ringing clear as she wrote down dreams of vacations, new adventures, and more family gatherings. John glanced at Clara as she jotted down her own hopes, things to learn, to cherish, to rebuild. As they filled their notes with joyful aspirations, John could feel the shadows receding, just like the sun had that evening. Each note he penned seemed like a pact between him, Clara, and Lily. A promise of healing, understanding, and the new chapter they all longed to explore. Lily looked up after a few moments. Can we read them out loud? John felt a mix of anxiety and excitement, knowing this was a moment to embrace vulnerability. All right, let us share them. Lily jumped up, waving her note. I wrote, I want to have the best summer ever. Her enthusiasm swept them both up, their spirits lifting. Clara chuckled, her heart warming at how pure her daughter's hope was. I wrote, I want to be the best aunt and spend more time with you both, Clara announced, her voice full of sincerity, drawing John's gaze. He felt a flicker of admiration for her willingness to put herself out there. Dad? Lily nudged. John swallowed hard. I wrote, I want to be the father you deserve. His voice trembled slightly but echoed with strength. And to make amends for the years I missed. Lily beamed, her heart wide open, and Clara nodded, eyes shimmering with potential. This is just the beginning, she said. With laughter and notes in hand, they fashioned a box from an old wooden crate they found nearby. Each note slid inside felt like a seed, a new possibility ready to sprout. As the last note settled, John felt the warmth of connection bloom around them, knitting the fabric of their family together again. And with Lily's face illuminated by the firefly dance, he realized that healing wasn't the absence of scars, it was the willingness to acknowledge them and still forge ahead, together. Their laughter intertwined, dancing against the backdrop of the evening, the echoes of hope now taking root, illuminating their path forward. The night wore on, filled with moments of unguarded joy, where laughter rang like a song played in perfect harmony, a melody of redemption, forgiveness, and the profound love that would guide them each step of the way. He took a deep breath, feeling lighter than he had in years. With Clara and Lily by his side, perhaps the treasure they sought was not hidden at all. It was right there, a newfound bond glowing brighter than any firefly ever could. As the last light of dusk faded, John knew they would journey through whatever came their way together. Don't wait a second longer. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread this message of hope. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now, because this is the moment to show your support.